Western. The newest person we've hired who's assistant editor went to Western, has her degree in English. And Aaron Wary, who is one of our reporters in the Ottawa Bureau and a blogger and tweeter, he too has a degree in English from Western, and he just graduated last week, I think. He left 10 years ago because he got a job, and he never got around to graduating, and his mother was unhappy, and I mentioned this to Michael, so Aaron finally graduated last week. Now, they're not the only Western grads at Maclean, it turns out. The entire Ottawa Bureau is practically staffed by Western grads. The little columnist and national editor Paul Wells went to Western. Alas, he didn't do English, but that's all right. As did Scott Feschuk, who's our resident funny man, and his wife, who's now the managing editor of the website, Sue Allen. They met working on the Gazette and got married. The rest is history. I thought I'd try to tell you how I think my degree got me where I am. Is this making too much noise? I think it's this: if I show you some covers, you may understand the kind of range of what I do as an editor. When you're an editor, I don't write, I commission stories, so I dream up ideas, or people come to me with ideas and we say yes or no, and then I work to try to make those stories better than they may have come in. So in the last couple of years, I've worked on everything from this Newsmakers issue, which is sort of a wrap of the year, and Crosby was on that year when he scored the gold winning goal for Canada in the Olympics. Did this piece on Eric Lindros and the effects of concussion, where he talked for the first time about the depression that he suffered since, in retrospect, that he realizes, and he came out urging players and kids to seek help and counseling if they were suffering from depression as a result of their own hockey concussions. Last year I was in charge, this year, of the Summer Games coverage in London. That was a lot of fun. We had 3 reporters there, and they reported to me. You might be thinking now that I'm a sports fanatic, and actually I'm not. I don't watch a lot of sports. I came from a sports crazy family with a hockey fanatic father, but that wasn't me. And I'm just back from 6 months of helping Rogers launch this magazine, which is their new sports magazine, where I edited some big features on, such as the KLH crash in Russia, where Canadians died, as well as many Russians. Also edited a piece on Derek Bugard, the enforcer for the Rangers, who had died as a result of drinking when what happened with post-concussion syndrome. Recently, I've also worked on a lot of science pieces, including this one, which was on Chris Hadfield, our Canadian astronaut, who's going to go to space in December and will be the head of the space station in the spring. Also worked on some social issue pieces, including stress on campus and what's happening. Another one on fewer women than men in some parts of the world. And then some crime pieces, Colonel Williams, and most recently on the rankings issue for Maclean's. And I thought, what is it that, I don't really know a lot about any one of these areas, but I think what I learned when I was at Western and doing English is that if you can read a novel and you don't understand it, but your essay is, tell me what are the themes, or what does this mean, or you have to analyze a poem that you haven't got a clue what it means, or a passage in French and you don't understand it, that if you can come up with some sense, some meaning, looking for patterns or connections, that's actually really good job training. It's really good job training for what I do, because I don't know really a whole lot about anything that I actually work on. So I'm a jack of all trades, truly, and I'm a master of none. And I don't know that in today's economy that's a bad skill set to have. Because any one of these magazines, had I gone to law school, I could have read a case, and I would have probably understood what it meant, and I might have had to work really hard to do it, but I really believe that at the end of the day, I could have done it. Or this could be a patient file, it could be a case for MBA school, and in my case it didn't happen to be that, but it could be. And I think that the value of an English degree is that you learn to read what you don't understand, you learn to make sense of it, you learn to communicate that in writing, sometimes in speaking. And I think those are actually really essential job skills wherever you work. And so a lot of people that I've worked with over the years have actually come out of arts degrees. Many haven't gone to journalism school, I didn't. Many have worked on papers like the Gazette. But I really think what they've learned in programs like English is a way of approaching the world and a way to almost do anything, because you're used to reading really difficult books already. There's almost nothing anybody can give you that will be harder than what you might have read in a class here. And so when you get out there, you have the confidence where you think, I've read many things, I didn't know what they mean, I still got a B, sometimes I got an A. And so I'm a huge fan of the degree that I got, a fan of the school. I know that you're all in a tough spot at this point, parents and students like Michael. I have 2 daughters, and one did a history degree at UBC and is now at Cambridge doing a history degree in Hindi in England, and my younger one is doing commerce at Queen's. There have been many fights around our dinner table, well, what's the right kind of degree, and what you should do and what you shouldn't do. And both kids were going to go to different universities than where they ended up, and somewhere around in April or May, there were 90-degree shifts and everybody went somewhere else that nobody thought they were going to go to. So I think have confidence you'll make the right decision for you. Arts and English here was right for me, and I think you'll know what's right when you get there. Anyway, best of luck.